You're listening to Forever Fierce with Catherine Grace O'Connell, only on LA Talk Radio.
Cheers, beauties. Welcome to Forever Fierce. I am Catherine Grace O'Connell, and I am back here in the LA Talk Radio studios. We've been kind of off with some things going on lately with FierceCon 2018 just wrapping up this weekend. And with that, I want to welcome some very, very special guests here. This seems to be like our international show. The beauty of Forever Fierce is this virtual world that we live in. Many of you were able to experience FierceCon right there in your own homes. We have FierceCon around the world, LA, New York City, and right out there. So speaking of around the world, right next to me is Miss Cat Coluccio. She is the founder of the Rocking Midlife Community. She is also a Forever Fierce member, an honorary team member, and came all the way across the pond and the pond and the pond and the pond.
Lots of ponds.
Lots of ponds to join us here at FierceCon 2018. So we are so delighted to have you on the show today.
Thank you. It is just wonderful to be here with you, Catherine. And what a weekend, hey?
What
a weekend.
A weekend and ongoing. Like, you've been here 2 weeks. This wasn't just a weekend.
Yes. The whole 2 weeks have been amazing, but the highlight was definitely FierceCon. Yeah. And seriously, folks, if you didn't get there, you need to next year. It was life-changing.
It was life-changing, and we'll definitely dive into how it changed your life, because every single woman will have had a different experience and a different life-changing experience, which was the intention.
Yeah, very much so.
We have someone else sitting next to you. We have, again, kind of our global contingent here, Miss Sophie Davies. Welcome, Miss Sophia.
Yes. Really?
Sophia, as she's going through her own process of rewiring.
Mm-hmm. I certainly am.
Many.
Yeah.
So Sophie is, she started and joined our Forever Fierce community and sort of did what a lot of women do. They come in and they kind of tiptoe around and they kind of like go, am I ready? And kind of dip their toe in a little by posting here and there. And then before you know it, our little shy Sophie is our number one poster and has been our number one poster for a very, very long time.
Well, I love it. What can I say?
Yeah, clearly. And we love you too. And look at, she was one of the fashionistas of the weekend.
Oh, my goodness.
Yes, very much so.
Very much so. And in the process of reinventing herself, rewiring as a model now.
Yeah.
In her 50s.
Yeah.
Pretty cool.
I'm excited.
Yeah, and she said Sophia. I thought that was so cool. It's not just Sophie Davies, it's Sophia. Yeah.
Nobody ever calls me that.
Maybe I am now.
Yeah, you are now. Okay.
It's kind of like
That's
Giselle, Sophia.
I like it.
Yeah, Gia, whatever, all those. Yeah, you're going to be forever known as Sophia now.
Good.
We'll call you Fia for short. So, you guys, we are just really on, we're still kind of on this FierceCon high. And we've had an ongoing slumber party at, over where you guys were staying. And then it's all moved over to my place, Chez Catherine. And it's been lovely. We've got, it's not glamorous. It's air mattresses and people sleeping on sofas and, and clothes hanging all over.
It's been fun. It's been great fun. It's been really bonding and, wonderful.
Yeah, it's been amazing. So we kind of talked a little bit before the show. And, a lot of people out there, hopefully many of you have watched the live stream. We have the live stream pinned at the top. We have 2 live streams, actually. So we had a morning session and an afternoon session. And Kat was in the afternoon session. We had incredible leaders. It was Loretta Sayers, Countdown to 60, who... Thank God for our team members like Loretta jumping in, who's a real event coordinator. I am not. I have wonderful ideas, and then I have amazing people who buy into those ideas and help me execute them. So Loretta ran the afternoon panel that you were on.
Yes.
And so you guys can watch those talks. They're pinned to the top. And what was that experience like for you, Kat?
The panel?
Yeah, the panel.
Oh, the panel. Look, I watched the Morning Girls, and I sat there thinking, oh my gosh, what can I add to this? Every single woman was absolutely amazing. Heartfelt, yet so articulate. And every woman just brought something slightly different to the table. And it was really, really empowering. So when I got onto my panel, I was a little intimidated, to be honest, thinking so many amazing stories. But again, every woman just brought something slightly different, and I think that managed to reach every woman that was in the room. You know, so many different sort of stories and flavors and
it was
so
it was amazing. And watching every person in, I hate to say audience because we were just one. It wasn't an audience. There weren't speakers. The whole idea is there's no boundaries. There's no experts. It's a sharing. It's a conversation. So nobody had their phones out. Everybody was completely 110% present, and that's immersed and not just present but riveted.
It was powerful.
Stories.
It was really powerful.
And nothing was rehearsed.
No.
Just
Certainly not my bit.
Certainly, none of it. Not mine either. They're like, what the hell am I going to say? So, and Sophie, what was it like for you? Because obviously you were part of that conversation.
Yeah, I mean, for me, it was just so powerful because all the women, I mean, we're all different. We've all come from different backgrounds, all have a different story to tell. But what for me was so empowering was the passion that came over, and everything was stripped back. And, you know, we might have made sort of assessments about, you know, oh, God, my God, she's so beautiful and she's got these wonderful clothes and everything. But actually, when it comes down to it, we're all the same. And that's what I got out of it. And that, you know, we've all got our insecurities. We've all got our bad things, sad things that have happened to us. But it's about how you move forward and how you support each other. And that was the thing for me. It was the kindness and the warmth. And, yes, there were people there, myself included, who got overwhelmed and it was very emotional, but it wasn't a sad thing. It was an empowering thing, and actually it just, you had a good hug and you sort of laughed it off, have another glass of wine and let's get on with it.
And another one, and
another one. But no, it was that it wasn't a sort of a depressing thing. It was an uplifting thing,
and a release.
It was a release, and that's what I felt, and I think everybody did in their own way.
You had said to me that you'd been holding in things for like years.
Yeah,
I think we found that. That was not just unique to you.
Yeah, and I didn't really realise it. I mean, I thought I'd sort of spoken about it, but I hadn't really. And I think it was a safe space, and that sort of phrase kept on coming over. You felt safe. You felt that you could actually just let it all out, and nobody's going to judge you. Nobody's going to sort of think, oh, well, okay, you've said enough now. You could just be yourself, and that was just really. I've never been in an environment like that, where you know, it was really special, really, really special.
Well, I love that you say that, because Amy Kennedy, as you guys know Amy, who is just a love. She was on the live a minute ago. Amy is an incredible soul. She's on her way back from a visit after FierceCon, heading up to Santa Barbara and now back to Michigan. And she was supposed to come with her sister, Stacy Rawl, who we missed you, Stacy. And Stacy actually had a kidney stone attack the week of, had to have surgery, and said, please, to her surgeon, please, I have to be there, and got on the plane and had to, her suitcase made it to FierceCon, but she did not, because she had to go in the hospital too, because she had an attack. So that is one beautiful, fierce woman. But Amy came. Anyway, her sister said, no, I want you there, I want you there. So Amy said to me, this was on one of the team calls. We have this amazing team on the back end that you've experienced. And so she said, I want to go because I want to know if this is real, this bubble. It's a kindness bubble. It's a bubble of energy that is really sacred and really special. No mean girls allowed. And she's on the team, and she knows this really well. But she, for herself, she's not on the periphery, she's right in there. She wanted to know if this is real. Yeah. And you guys, is it real?
Oh, it's real.
Totally.
It's real.
More than you can imagine. Yeah. Really.
It's real.
It's fantastic. It's unique.
It is unique, and we want more of it. I mean, that's the whole idea, is this bubble is not a closed bubble. It's an all-inclusive bubble, except for mean girls. Except for mean girls.
No, we don't want them.
No mean girls. No, not allowed. So, Kat, you've been on your own mission.
I have.
Yeah, you've been on your own mission. You are, you've got your own community. Miss Cat, Coluccio, Rocking Midlife, and one of you lucky winners here are going to get over yourself and get in the game. So let's talk about you and your journey.
Okay.
No pressure?
Let's
do it. Yeah.
Let's. Where would you like to start?
You know, where would you like to start?
Oh my gosh. Okay, well, there's so many different areas. I guess for me, midlife has proved to be a time of reinvention, rediscovery, not always new. To me, it's a season where you're either dusting off old dreams that you had popped aside, you know, when you took on the role of being mother and parent and wife and whatever else that you labelled yourself with. And you're either dusting off those old ones or you're finding new ones, and then finding the courage to go out and actually pursue those dreams. And sometimes it can feel like you're totally on your own in doing that. And that's where I've found, connecting with online communities invaluable. So I started my own before I knew of the Forever Fierce group. And so I have my page and my Rocking Midlife Community, and that's grown and is into an international community. And when I found Catherine's community, because there seems to be a whole lot of midlife communities now suddenly coming to the foreground, because I think there is a real movement, starting to happen of women finding themselves in this place. But I sense such a kindred spirit in Catherine and such an openness to be collaborative and not competitive, and wanted to, and that's where we sort of connected. And I've supported Catherine's campaign, she supported mine, and out of that I think my own voice and my own growth is continuing. And certainly this weekend I'm in the process of another reinvention. Reinvention isn't like do it once, boom, you're done. So I've done a few. I told my story at FierceCon about how at age 44 and extremely obese, and having been a homeschool mother who'd given up all professional background, I decided I was going to be a personal trainer, much to the hilarity of my family and everybody else, and set about doing that, and totally reinvented myself and immersed myself in gym life for the last 7 years, working in one of the South Auckland gyms in Auckland, which is one of the lowest demographic areas, and that's been wonderful. But for me, I've got that little voice now saying it's time to play a bigger game, and time for me to actually get in the game and stop hiding behind so that's what I've been talking about with Catherine. It's time to get that message out to a greater community. Both of us have the same heart to empower women that they can do this. They can change their lives. They can step out and do the things they're called to do, because when you do what you're called to do, your community will be affected positively.
The ripple.
So,
we talked about the ripple.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. And we have to come together. What we're doing is really unusual. The old paradigm, we would be like, cat. Cat.
Which cat do you want?
Cat. You got to pick your cat.
Yeah.
No
way.
Yeah,
no.
It doesn't work.
No.
It doesn't work.
No.
Yeah, especially for midlife women, because there aren't that many of us. There are more than before, but there really aren't that many of us. So if we step on each other and we try to squash someone else's light, we all go down.
Exactly. And, women raising women up and empowering women and supporting women. The reality is, and I say this to my tribe, and it can sound really horrible, and sorry to our Mr. Recording Man over here, but the reality is women outlive men. We need each other.
We do.
We need our girlfriends. We need our sisterhood, because at the end of the day, that's probably who you're going to be left standing with. And so we need to be building one another up, not tearing one another down. It's a different world.
And more of these communities, because that's what we've been. It's the same whether we're at FierceCon or out of FierceCon. We're the same. Like, we're the same people.
Yeah.
We are, sharing and warm and bonding and hugging and laughing and
crying. Lots of crying.
Lots of
the good crying.
The good crying. I finally had mine today. I held my.
Mine was
shit
Saturday.
together.
I was a mess all day Saturday, right from the beginning right through to the end.
Sophie, we all. I've had plenty of meltdowns. So, Sophie, what is this like for you being part of these communities? Because obviously we're leading them. You are jumping in. And what was it like when you first, because I think we have a lot of women out there who aren't where you're at right now. Maybe they're just in that space of dipping their toe in. What do you want to say to them?
I just say, just have faith. Just go in. There's nothing to be frightened of. This is the warmest place you will find. It's kind. It's gentle, it's encouraging. If you have a wobble, if you have a bad day, we all have them. There's going to be somebody there who's going to say, it's okay, I had it too, but now I'm feeling better, and this is how, it's just literally keeping each other up, literally. And if one of us starts to go down, we all come in and we just get them back up again. And I think that's the thing, it's an all-inclusive thing. No one is better than anybody else. And we've all got something to offer.
That's beautiful.
We all do.
It's so true.
But it's we all have different things. I mean, life would be very dull if we were all the same.
Life would be this mosaic.
And together we can be really powerful. And I think the power that came through for me over the weekend was extraordinary. It was really.
Can you put that into words? What did you feel?
Well, personally, so when I was really, so I've come over from the UK. This is the first time I've ever been to America. First time I've been out of Europe. And I just had this feeling that I wanted to be there. I wanted to be amongst all these women. And, you know, it was just like a pipe dream. It was never going to happen. And then suddenly there was an opportunity, and my husband said, right, book the ticket. I'm like, I'm doing it. I'm going. And I was like so excited, but really nervous as well, because I had no idea at all what was going to happen. And I just thought, I'm just going to embrace it. What's the worst that can happen? My daughter's like saying, you're going to be taken into some cult. That's it. I'm never going to see you again.
And you were in some way.
But, you know, I just thought, right, I'm going to go with an open mind and just see what happens. And I knew I'd have a good time because I was determined to have a good time, but I didn't know how it would affect me so much. And I think the whole emotional thing for me was, you know, after the talks and everything and just hearing everybody, and then it just took me completely unawares. I was out having my morning coffee, and lovely Linda came to join me, and we were just sitting there, and she said, are you okay? And I was going, yeah. And suddenly it just sort of
floodgates.
Like, and it was just with the sea, it was nature, it was just it was just everything. And I thought, where's this come from? I didn't come here to do this. I came here just to sort of meet people and, you know, and I think that's what it does. It just enables you to dig deep and to, you know, not suppress things, not saying, oh, I'm meant to be this or I'm meant to be that. You're meant to be you. Yes. And when you actually can accept that, then everybody else accepts it too.
Yeah, that's so true. I think that was the universal theme in the talks. Every single person, again, all these women, you know, from Kathy Williams in the Middle Page blog to Jan Carell, Silver is the New Blonde, to Jacqueline DePaul, Yellow Brick Runway, you know, Kat Coluccio, to Patty Talbot, founder of Say Or, to Linda Barnby, who was a last-minute add-on because we had a speaker cancel, but everyone, it was such different, beautiful flavors, such unique stories, nobody coming in intentionally, not rehearsed, just from the heart stories, and one more moving, I shouldn't say more moving than the next, one moving in its own way, and each one touching each woman in its own way, and everyone really at the end just really summing it up, going, go rock it, you know, go be yourself, don't hold back, don't, you know, shine your light, you know, what are you waiting for? And I think that's the beauty of midlife. It's this gift of permission.
Yes. The P word.
The P word.
The P word.
Permission. So, what is it in us that we don't give ourselves permission, and we constantly look outside for that? What is that?
Gosh, I talk about it a little bit. I call the twin sisters of I'm not worthy and I'm not good enough. And I think as women, we particularly berate ourselves. We have those two little monkeys on our shoulders constantly in our ears saying, I'm not worthy enough for this. I shouldn't go do that because I'm not really worthy of being noticed or of being successful. And then that I'm not good enough thing. I mean, these are the two key things I've battled with my entire life. And as you saw this weekend, I still battle with them. Everything I write about and speak about is my own personal battles.
Me too.
And I just think women, whether it's societal or whether it's cultural or whatever, we battle with this.
It's this inner demon sort of, and it's like these inner voices, and like you said, and we can rise and then they come back, and we rise and they come back, and they're not always the same, but I really do believe this, that life is not like you got it figured out and it's whoop. No, it's like you think you got it figured out and then it's like whap, smack down. You think you got it figured out and smack down again, because then you just got to go peel another layer and peel another layer. And like Peter Lee, the CEO of Saranghae, we had a wonderful company, Saranghae, and they are a company that out of Toronto, and it's a Korean skincare company. And Saranghae in Korean, I'll say it the wrong way. My producer's gonna get mad. It means I love you. So the whole theme of Forever Fierce, the weekend, everything was in pink, and we have these gorgeous flowers here by Andy's florist here in Torrance. Everything was around pink and love, and our fierce love story starts now. But Peter got up there. And, you know, he had been a big executive in, what was the company, Mike? What was the company Peter Lee was a huge salesperson in? Oracle. Oracle, that's a pretty
highfalutin salesperson, wasn't he?
Highfalutin.
Yeah, highfalutin. See, I picked up some Americanisms.
Highfalutin. So He was at the top of his game, or so he thought, and, you know, crushing it out there in the sales force until he wasn't, until the universe said, okay, you know, you're a little too arrogant for us and we're going to smack you down. And then he got basically too big for his britches, and then his whole business started falling apart. And he had some life lessons to learn. And I think that's the beauty. While you're going through it, it sucks. Let's just be honest. It sucks.
Yeah.
But then when we get to the other side, and it's like the irritation of the pearl, and you know, the phoenix rises from the ashes and the lotus rises from the mud. If we don't hit, you know, we have to kind of get smacked down, hit rock bottom, then we rise again, and we learn, and we dig deeper, and we...
But that's where I think there's choice involved.
Yeah, that's true.
That's where I think there's choice. In that place, in that pit, that's when you make the choice. Am I going to stay here? Am I going to be a victim? Or am I going to rise above this? Am I going to learn from this? And am I actually going to decide to step out and be the person and use the gifts and talents I've been given and actually impact the world? But that comes down to choice.
It does come down to choice.
Yeah.
Do you find that true, Sophie, too?
Definitely. You know, you either sort of wallow is not a very nice word, but when you're in the thick of it, you have got a choice. You either just go down or you go up, and you just have to make that choice. And it's just like, right, I'm not going to let this, you know, overtake. And you put your best face on, and you might be going through all sorts of things behind the scenes, but you just go out and try and be as positive as you can. And I do believe that, you know, I like to think I'm a positive person, and I just think even if you don't really believe it, fake it until you make it, you know, just smile and just sort of, you know, yeah, everything's okay, even if it isn't. And, you know, you can say it isn't to some people, but to the world, say it's okay. Project positivity, and then... Without
being Pollyanna. I mean, we have to be real.
Yeah. No, of course. Yeah. But, I mean, just sort of, I do think that is a choice.
Because we can get sucked into the negativity.
Yeah, well, that's it. And I think it's a choice just to be, you know, as positive as you possibly can. And just, for me, you know, I've, like a lot of people, have had very dark times, and just to cling on somehow, and just believe in hope, and just think, if this won't last forever, just get through that day and get through the next day, and just believe that there is light. And if you can believe that, and then one day you'll say, oh, okay, it's not, I'm feeling better today. It's a little better.
It's really fascinating, isn't it? Because I know I've had plenty of dark times. I know we've talked about that many, and many times I wanted to quit.
Well, that's what I was thinking, because you told me yourself, when you're in the thick of Lyme disease, you actually made a choice to not let that define you any longer. And look what happened. Yeah,
it took a while. But there were times, especially when I had the near-death experience, I was like, okay, God, why didn't you take me? Because I had no fear of that. That's a beautiful place. I was like, whoop, down here, I'm not so sure I want to stay here. But what I really learned is, you know, they say there's a light at the end of the tunnel, but if you quit when you're in the tunnel, you can't see the light.
Exactly.
And when we're immersed in the darkness, the blackness, that heaviness, that depression, that despair, there feels no hope, no light. We can't see it, and we quit then. And the light can be right here, like one teeny bit aside. And it's amazing that all of a sudden it's like the sun comes out, and you're like, it's not like boom, everything is fine. It just means that
it's a little better.
God, it's a little better, and then a little better. It's like turning
and
the
it's
dimmer.
Just clinging on. Just
turn it on. So yes, I did. It was I had the near-death experience on 11/11/14, which was a very meaningful day to me. And it wasn't until that spring, you know, I still had further to fall. It wasn't like suddenly I came out, and I have not shared publicly, except one interview. I will share my near-death experience story because it's a powerful one. But it was spring after that, and I was still virtually bedridden. I mean, I could walk barely around the block. I was back in physical therapy, but I really wasn't self-sufficient by any means. And more importantly, internally, I was slipping back, and those old voices were coming back, and I was feeling helpless and hopeless, and I looked hideously ugly, and none of my clothes fit, and I'd look in the mirror and be like, oh, you know, where's my old self? And the truth is, looking back now, and I think many of us have had this experience, my old self, the false self who I thought I was, literally died. And this new self emerged, but it doesn't happen like that.
No. No.
It's like this has to kind of dissolve, and then you're in the ashes, the phoenix rising, and it takes a while for that phoenix now to come back together
Yes.
and rise.
Yeah.
So it was a decision. It was an internal decision, and I was like, that's it. I am going to focus over here. It was a conversation with my daughter. She got my thinking switched, and I was like, it was a wake-up call. You know, what would you do if you're well? I travel the world. Like, what the hell? What do you mean? Who said that?
Yeah.
It was the real me talking, going,
Yeah.
I've got a dream.
Yeah.
And then it was in an instant. That was in an instant. My computer, that was normally pages and pages open about Lyme disease and treatments and protocols and, you know, supplements and looking at everyone's stories, and that kept me trapped. And I went, wipe that out.
Yep.
Okay, where do I want to go? Bucket list. I'm still in bed. I can't, but I can dream. I can
Exactly.
dream anywhere.
Exactly.
She brought me a journal like the next day, and it was like bucket list. I started filling it. I called and hired a travel agent, and I was like, this is where I want to go. She started booking the trips. I wasn't able to go. Didn't matter. I was chained
in your
Yeah.
head.
Yep. Because you'd made that choice
Yeah.
that you'd changed your outlook, you'd changed your thinking, and even though you had the physical process
Yeah.
to still catch up.
I did. I was still really sick.
Your direction.
I was
Yeah.
really weak, really
changed.
debilitated.
Yeah.
I didn't think about it. Like, I had to deal with it, but I wasn't focused on it. It wasn't my world anymore. My world was over here.
Yeah.
So everything is energy. And when we shift our energy, we shift everything. And the
Yeah.
life follows. That's our intent, our energy, our focus is over here. Illness was like gone. It didn't, like
Yeah.
I said, I wasn't well in an instant. But I made that decision, and it just took time for my parts, like everything,
Yeah.
mind,
Yeah, to catch
body,
up.
spirit, to catch up. But my mind let it,
Yeah.
and I think we've all probably had those experiences.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Yeah. Well, as you know, I've been through it again this
Yes.
year because sometimes you have to keep going around the mountain until you can sort it out properly. And like, for instance, after 7 years of working in the gym, I went to a life-defining conference earlier this year, which was the Global Speakers Summit, which was held in New Zealand this year. So that was a phenomenal experience of hearing, you know, some of the best speakers in the world. And I was so challenged how these people were able to help transform lives and speak into people's lives, you know, through the power of their words and their stories. And that's where I heard that little voice saying, okay, it's time, Cat, it's time to play a bigger game. And so I got so excited. I came home 2 days later. I shut down my PTing business and decided, right, this is it. I'm going to throw myself into my speaking and online presence and start working on, like, my dream is to travel and speak and inspire and help people transform their lives. And within a week, I got hit with a stroke-like condition that knocked me out, popped me in hospital, meant that I had months of rehabilitation. I lost half the hearing on my left side. I now live with screaming tinnitus and vertigo and brain fatigue as my brain tries to adapt to sound. And then I started gaining weight, and I just spiraled. It was like everything I'd worked for all those years just suddenly spiraled. And the people in my community are still there, but I'm pulling back. And I wasn't doing Facebook Lives or anything else. Just hiding more and more and more. And it got to the point where, like, I could cry thinking about it now. It got to the point where I had to, in my heart, go, do I keep going down and go, oh, well, that was all that? Or do in my heart, do I go, actually, I'm going to make a choice that this is different? And it was funny. It all happened at once. I decided, blow this. I'm still going to do my own event that I'd been talking about for 2 years. So I put a date on the calendar with that. And then I was literally sharing a post in my own community to advertise FierceCon, which I did with my community last year as well. And I was halfway through writing that post when it dropped in my heart that I need to be there too. So, you know, I had to go out and break it to my husband who, you know, the New Zealand dollar's pretty weak, let me say. So this was all going to be on credit, straight out of our mortgage. And he thought about it, and he said, actually, after, you know, a few tears of, this is going to hurt.
Got him off the floor.
Yeah. He said, actually, I think you need to as well. And I reached out to Catherine and said, I really feel this. What do you think? And she was so warm and so inviting and said, please come. So within 12 hours, it was like everything kind of changed. Not just the physical, I'd booked the tickets, everything literally within 12 hours, but something inside changed.
Yeah.
Because it was like, actually, no, I'm going to start fighting for myself again. And through those two decisions, I'm doing my event and I'm going to this conference. It's like I'm back.
Back on track.
I'm back on track. I'm not there yet where I want to be.
But that internal switch again.
The switch has been
and the
switched.
Energy.
Yeah.
And you said something
Yeah.
really interesting. We were all sitting there having coffee yesterday, and you were going through some emotions were coming up again, and you said, this is like, someone said it to you, or you said it like giving birth, and that was like the birthing pains before you actually give birth.
Yeah, it was something I got out of the Bible when it talks about the earth having labour pains, and I said it's feeling, because I found myself crying. I'm not usually a big crier, and I spent most of Saturday in tears at this conference. I was the one up the corner hiding in tears, right from first thing in the morning, right through. In fact, in front of everybody on that panel. And I really feel like this weekend has been part of a birthing process for me personally too, into step into what's to come. But you don't get to that unless you make that choice that you're going to put yourself out there and actually step out in faith. And so I really believe in my stepping out in faith and into this environment, which for me, coming from a little country like New Zealand, where we do tend to stay in our boxes, don't rock the boat. I was telling Catherine we have what's called tall poppy syndrome, where if a poppy grows too tall, you might have heard of these overseas, you chop it off. So there's always that, keep yourself small, keep yourself small. Yeah, keep yourself small. And so seeing these beautiful, glamorous women who were just living life to the fullest and putting themselves out there has challenged me so much. It really has.
But I think the tall poppy syndrome is just a metaphor for all of us. It's like that dimming our light.
Yes.
You know, it's not really just there. It's whether or not what you come here and you see is not necessarily what's going on inside of us.
Yeah.
And Sophie, how do you relate to what Kat is saying and sharing?
Oh God, I mean, I relate so much, and I think sometimes when we're younger, we're conditioned to be a certain type, do a certain thing, be a certain way. And if you're slightly different to that, and you try and say, well, actually, I'd rather do. No, you're much better doing this. You're kind of labelled and you're put in boxes. So you've got all this sort of creativity in your head, and you're thinking, I'm never going to be able to express that. And then comes a point where you think, actually, maybe I can. And then you're amongst women who are saying, yeah, go for it. Of course you can. And you think, oh, okay,
yeah,
that's easy, and that's the thing. There is no limit here. There is no kind of cut-off point. There is no, oh no, you can't do that. If you want to do it, there are loads and loads and loads and loads of women who are there to say, yeah, we'll help you, we'll support you, we've got your back. And you might not have it in your personal life, you might not have it in your family or whatever, but actually you've got it here if you want it, and that's. And
I think that's the beautiful thing
lovely.
we saw this weekend. No matter what you looked like, and it was everyone. We are very inclusive. As all shapes, colors, sizes, backgrounds, history, religions, faith, whatever. When we had, speaking of faith, David G. So our Saturday started off. He is now a Forever Fierce member. David G, or G as we call him. G is actually considered like an enlightened being. It is an honorary thing that is designation that is given to someone when they have done a lot of really beautiful spiritual work, and he's the real deal. So he kicked off our talks on Saturday, and I had met David G in a retreat in Whistler, Canada I went to for Deepak Chopra. He had apprenticed under Deepak and went through his own process of rewiring and reinvention and led the Chopra Center meditations for over 10 years. And he even said up there, he's the one who created those 21-day meditations that Oprah and Chopra do. I mean, he is just pure genius, pure goodness, pure light. And he donated his time. He drove from San Diego, a 2-hour trip.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, he donated. Oh, yeah, he donated his time. He was, and that is I don't know that he ever does that. So maybe he does, but for us, that was a huge, huge deal. So he kicked off the day, and we had women who don't meditate or thought meditation was weird or new agey, or their worlds rocked inside out, people in tears, and again, beauty. It was tears of joy. It was like, oh my God, I didn't know this existed. And one woman came up to him afterwards who skipped the meditation because she thought it was too weird and woo and cult-like, and heard him talk and was like, oh my God, now she's got his books and is studying David G. And it's really interesting because meditation is universal. As you know, we've talked many times. It has nothing to do with religion. The essence, at least in my understanding, the Bible and religion and Christianity, all of that, the essence of it is all the same. It's a beautiful higher power. It doesn't matter what you call it. So meditation really just allows us to connect internally, to allow that voice, which is really just us, the truth of who we are. I call it God, but you call it whatever you want, so we can hear it. Prayer is talking. Meditation is listening, and if we don't get quiet and create space...
the Bible tells you to meditate.
Yeah, the Bible
meditate
does.
upon the Word. Yep.
The Bible does.
It
That's
does.
what you really do in, Mass. And again, I don't want to get into religious dogma because it divides, but meditation is universal.
Yeah.
There is no division. And we all have to connect inside of ourselves. And when we do, what was that experience? Did you go? Did you skip
No,
it?
'cause we-
Did you skip it? Did you both skip?
No, we
Did you
went
skip
to go.
it?
We went
got
to
there
go,
late.
but the Uber was late.
Our
we
Uber
thought we
didn't
wouldn't
turn
distract
up.
the energy. We thought we would sort of have a disastrous effect on all the good energy that was going around. So we
We went and had breakfast.
did.
That's okay. You're allowed. I give you permission.
And it was a
Give
great
yourself
breakfast.
permission.
It was a really cool
The
breakfast.
intent was there.
The intent was
no,
there.
The intent was
I
there.
totally understand it. It's one of the things we didn't put on the live stream because the meditation is very kind of private and personal. But we talked to G, and G, you're in our community now. So a lot of the women have now requested a retreat with G because it was such an incredibly life-changing and
his
moving
talk afterwards
experience.
was amazing.
So what did you get from that?
Yeah.
I mean, his talk is
Oh my God, he's just so wise.
yeah,
I mean, he just knows
and
stuff.
real.
Yeah, and knows stuff. And yeah, it wasn't weird at all. It was just, he was just like talking, but you felt like he was talking to you.
Yeah.
And we were all there, but it was like almost like it was a sort of personal thing. And no, just so powerful. And I mean, I would definitely, next time I will make sure, get the half an hour ready.
I just like his practical takeaways. I like real nice, practical can-dos, things like
Yeah,
just...
that was true.
Yeah,
The-
just being able to
doesn't
say,
have to be
that's
an
not
hour,
on
it
my
can be-
agenda.
Yeah.
No, not even the meditation
Oh, the
side of it, just
agenda
the
bit.
general
Yeah.
life things
That's
of,
good.
you
Yeah, I
know,
agree.
not taking on things that aren't on your agenda,
Yeah.
which as women, we are so
Yeah.
easily caught up wanting
True.
to please other people and getting caught into other agendas. And I think that was my biggest takeaway from him.
I agree with that.
Just
Being
able to-
conscious,
Yeah.
conscious and authentic to yourself. If there's some,
And what you're
you know,
called to
women's
do.
march or whatever it is that's going on, if that's not you, and you know,
Yeah.
you know, it's like Rosie Dalton, our sweet Rosie Dalton, Coach Rosie, who worked with Martha Beck. She says shekels on or shekels off, which just really means is it contraction or is it expansion? Is it additive or is it negative? It's really simple. We know if we are in tune with ourselves when we go like this or we go like this. You know, it's the pendulum. You can actually use your body as a pendulum. You can hold up anything, and Wayne Dyer taught this when he was here. If you hold up, like say you go into Whole Foods and you get a supplement or some sugar or whatever, your body will naturally has an instinct to go to something that's good for you and away from something.
That's interesting.
So same thing, even a book. You can go into a store and say, all right, is this
Oh,
do
I heard
want
you go
this book?
to that one.
There we go. Exactly. But you can stand up
away.
and you have to
Yeah.
buy into this because, of course, you can block it too unconsciously if you're not. But the truth is, you have this innate wisdom inside of you to go towards something or away from something. So you have this visceral reaction when it's not right.
Yes.
And oftentimes we override that
We
with our
do,
people pleasing.
because we want to please.
Yeah.
And we want to do the right thing. And we want to be the right little woman
Yep.
who's just making everyone else's lives fantastic.
And then we make ours, you know, we
Yeah.
shrink ourselves.
Yeah.
Every time we do
We
that, we
become the
chip away at our
master.
soul. We sell our soul,
Yeah.
a little bit of our soul.
And it's not saying that we need to be selfish people who
That's not
ignore
it.
the needs of others, but it's we can fall into this martyr role too. And that's what we need to break in women.
I know it well.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think we were kind of conditioned, and that's a big part of Forever Fierce. It is a movement, it's a revolution, but it's really a revolution inside of a woman and
Yes.
sparking something, and every single woman will have, that's what FierceCon was. Every woman was asked basically what inspired them to be part of FierceCon and then what they wanted to take away, because we wanted to be personal, and everyone has their own intention. Everyone got what they needed. And so that spark inside is going to spark something different in you, something different in you, something different in me, something different in our photographers asleep over here. But everyone had, and we had men, didn't we? We had men there who
They were
fantastic,
engaged. They were
came up and
Wow,
said,
and
"Oh
blown
my
away.
God, I thought this was a feminist women's march." No. Like they were like blown away. This was just a universal message. Just because it's a women's group, we do have some wonderful, courageous men in there, but because it's a women's group does not mean we are not this feminist women's. I'm not against women's march. I'm not against anything. We're for everything and for everyone to find whatever that is that lights their fire, literally.
Yes, it was all about people exactly, lighting their own fire.
Yeah.
It wasn't, now you must all join Catherine's tribe and
Rah,
follow
rah, rah.
Catherine's mission. It was not that at all. It was literally about empowering women to find their purpose, to have the courage to fill that purpose and go out and live their lives powerfully. And that's why I'm here all the way from New Zealand. That's why Sophie's here all the way from the UK, because we have that same heart to see that happen.
Right. And they say a great leader is really just someone who actually creates other leaders.
Yes. Surrounds themselves with better people than themselves and lifts them up.
Yeah, and we have, speaking of leaders, I mean, that whole team, we have the most amazing team on the planet Earth. And you guys got to meet at least the women who were able to come, and you've certainly seen them on the back end. This takes a massive amount. You know, we've done 3 social service campaigns in a year, reaching almost 10 million people. Those take months and months of organization, and not that a lot of it is because we don't know what we're doing, and it's all volunteers. And so same with the FierceCon. This was volunteers and, you know, buying into my great ideas, which are wonderful ideas, but I can have all the ideas in the world, but if I don't have people executing them, I mean, you saw this massive, like, what it takes is unbelievable. We don't have, you know, this is like putting on a wedding where I'm the bride and I'm also putting on the wedding, and all of us, and we have this incredible Jody Filigomo and Rob get off the plane, they walk into my house, they can see, like, they just jump right in, and I mean, it's we have people sleeping everywhere, people working around the clock. Miss Loretta, rock star, countdown to 60. If you haven't followed her, follow her. Jody Filigomo.
Find her group.
Find her group. Instagram over 50 if you're interested in building a social media presence, and particularly on Instagram. You know, Instagram is not my bellywig, shall we say. It's not. I spend my time over on Facebook. I grew and I loved Instagram at the beginning. I gotta be honest, I don't love Instagram now, so that's why I let her do her thing and I let her teach it, because I really don't know how to grow it. I'm pretty mystified by the algorithms.
Yeah, I am too, actually.
Yeah, pretty mystified. So I'd rather stay over here and do my thing. So I think it's really, really important for, you know, everyone to be themselves. There's space for all of us.
There is.
Definitely.
Yeah.
That's one thing I heard years ago. It's not like if you get a piece of pie, then I get less pie.
Exactly.
We're all in a river together. There's no, you get a portion and then I miss out. We're all in there together.
Well, that was a big message in the Bridging the Gap. So when we did Bridging the Gap, we talked about this weekend. Bridging the Gap was bringing together the midlifers and millennials, 100 of each for the first time. I know you were. For the first time ever. And a big part of that was there's this message out there that, oh, it's like us versus the millennials, and we want the millennials out so we can be in marketing and advertising. And we want, no. All we're trying to do, we want the pie. It's like we just want to slice the pie in multiple slices. So actually the pie grows and is bigger for all of us, because if we see ourselves reflected in marketing, actually we open our pocketbooks and the research shows we spend, like, I don't know if it's 4 times as much. It's a crazy amount if we see ourselves, if we don't see ourselves. So we want to see the millennials, but we also want to see ourselves.
Exactly.
Yes. Absolutely.
You need all of us.
Yes.
So
not just the stylized grey hair ladies. We were talking about this last night. There are some beautiful silver-haired models, and we met some of them at this conference, and they are incredible. But not all of us over 50 are there yet. So it's like media, even when they are starting to embrace midlifers, they're still stereotyping.
They grab onto the stereotype.
None of us have enough grey hair to go grey.
We don't have grey hair, or we don't wear wild clothes and wild glasses, or, you know, whatever it is, they think, oh, that's it, the advanced style, which is great. I mean, I love Ari Conan's work, but,
they're
but
amazing.
that's it. That's all who gets promoted.
There's more than just that at midlife.
We're this beautiful, diverse, you know, and this was, I think, the first midlife conference where it was just real women, real midlife women, broad spectrum, you know, and the most down to earth. I think the group, and I think that's what blew the doors off. You meet Kathy Williams in the Middle Page blog. You might have some perception.
Gorgeous lady,
amazing, just gorgeous, more gorgeous inside than outside, which is almost hard to believe. Jacqueline DePaul, Yellow Brick Runway, and her Zoolander, just hilarious. And you know, that was a big part of the intention, so that there's this intimidation in the blogging world, and some people come in Forever Fierce and they leave, or they go, oh my God, it's fashion. No. Fashion's an expression. That's it. And we're all expressing ourselves in different ways. It's not about fashion. It's about women. It's about heart and soul. It's about an energy. It's about inclusiveness. It's about diversity. It's about everyone is beautiful in their own unique way.
Yes.
And rock it.
Yes,
What?
absolutely.
You rock in midlife.
Absolutely.
You rock in midlife.
Yeah.
And you're in the process of reinvention. I know that we have to
Yeah.
kind of, we have a few more minutes, but what is it your dream? You're actually going after your dream now.
Yeah, I really am. I want to. I don't see myself. I don't think about my age. I mean, I'm 55, but I don't think about
Yeah.
that. But the reality is, when I apply to agencies, I have to put that down, and then it's like, we don't know where to put you, because I'm not the sort of,
Yeah.
you know,
You're not the Grace. You're not the, yeah.
and you know, and so I'm like, I'm rejected. So okay, whatever, next. So I'm just keeping going, because I believe, you know, when I look in magazines, I think I can do that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so I'm just going to keep trying and well, just keep going.
Yeah.
And I want to be doing this for 20, 30 years.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I mean, why not? I
That's
mean,
beautiful.
you know, I just think...
And you will.
I hope
And you
so.
will. And you will. And Miss Cat, you're in the process of reinvention too,
Yeah.
and rewiring, and you going back, and you've got your own event going, another one.
I have a workshop coming up,
do?
yes, called Rewrite Your Story, or Rock Your Story, I
Rock
should
Your
say.
Story.
Yes. For women who are locked in those stories of the past, that they're not good enough, they're not worthy enough, they can't do anything, they have no talent, they have whatever. And it's helping women unravel these stories and then rewrite the new story going forward. And I'm going to be joined by Amanda Betts, who's an amazing lady, who will be helping them then create a Heartspeak piece on a piece of their jacket, of their clothing or their shirts, in which case they'll be able to take that story and wear it with confidence as they move into this new season of life. So
And we're going to be doing
exciting
some
times.
stuff too. We're going to
Yeah.
be doing, we're going to be doing stuff. And what
Yeah.
was the T-shirt? We're going to make a T-shirt.
Oh. I was saying to Catherine yesterday that it's, when I added up everything, it's costing me a few thousand to be here from coming from New Zealand, which I see as an investment into my life and into what I've got to give to going forward. And I said to her, at the end of the day, you know, I didn't go to therapy, I went to FierceCon. So that's where that money
So
went.
you guys, if you're thinking about going to therapy, I don't discourage you from therapy, but
Go to
this is a
FierceCon.
different. It's so amazing, and like I said, everyone's going to take away something.
Absolutely.
You know,
Definitely.
vastly different. And you're also picking up music again.
I am. I used to be a professional musician, but I let all that go in my motherhood years, particularly when I was homeschooling my children who were elite sports people, so I put everything into them. And yes, so I played for the first time in 7 years at my own event, and hopefully you'll see a whole lot more of that because I'm going back to work on that again.
Well, hopefully we'll get you back, and Leslie Woolman will create this little fierce, you know.
That would be cool.
Yeah, fierce. We were talking about Fierce Fests. We're going to be doing Fierce Fests.
Sounds great.
So,
Sounds
and
great.
Miss Sophie, you are going to be heading back to the UK, what?
Tonight.
Tonight.
Yeah.
Yeah, Kat, you leave tomorrow tonight.
Yeah.
Wow. So what's the number one thing you're taking back with you?
Well, definitely lifelong friendships.
Yes.
That's for sure. You know, that is for sure.
Stuck
And-
like glue.
Yeah, exactly. There's no getting away. And just, you know, I really have found another confidence. I did a level of confidence I didn't know I had, and that's been given to me by everybody else. I don't know if it existed already, but I certainly feel I've got it now. And you know, I'm not going to be able to. You know, I'm still working on it. But,
It's a
you know,
process, but I think that's the
but
beauty.
I feel the support, and I feel that everybody's rooting for me.
Yeah.
And
we are.
as I am for everybody else. And I think that's the thing. It's like, you know, if there's a wobble, there'll be people that say, come on, you know, get up, it's okay.
I think we have to
And
remember the pause.
You're not on your own. I think
Yeah.
that's the main thing. How it's scary.
It is
You know,
scary.
doing new things and
Unknown
trying-
territory.
It is frightening. And, you know, but just to know you've got a massive kind of,
Edge back,
Yeah.
side.
Yeah.
Yeah.
it's just so
Empowering.
empowering. So
It
that's
is.
what I'll take away.
Yeah, I love that. Thank you for sharing that. So, and where can people find you on Facebook? We got to get her on Instagram. We're going to teach her
Yeah,
Instagram.
I mean, really,
where
okay.
do we find you on Facebook?
Okay, my model page is Sophie K Model, and then I'm Sophie Davies, so I've got two. Yeah.
Okay, so follow this one. We got Yanni kind of checking her out here online. She's got online.
bringing
Yeah,
her up.
she went out with Prince Albert. I mean, she's a pretty cool. What? I know that's a whole other show. We'll get her back for that one. So, and Miss Cat, you are off tomorrow, and
Yes.
we know you're coming back, and we know we're going to be
Yeah.
doing lots of things. And we got a book to
Stuck
give
with
away.
me
We
now.
got it. We're stuck like glue. We got a book to give away. So, what do we want to? What do we want to ask the women in order to win a book? Just maybe leave a comment about something. Maybe something. What do you want to ask them? And they'll leave a comment about it. And then we'll choose a winner.
Gosh.
That's not a question.
I'm trying to think.
Golly gosh.
I think just share, be challenged. Share what is your deepest dream. If there was nothing holding you back, if money was no object, what would you do? What would you do? I'd love to hear that. That would inspire me so much.
Okay. So
Yeah.
leave that comment, and one of you guys will. She says, "Are you sick of sitting on the sidelines of your own life? Game on, sassy pants on, game on, girl,
Yeah.
get over yourself and game on."
Yeah. Yeah.
All right, you guys, thank you so much for being here. I am so sad that the party's over, but the friendship is
Yeah.
just beginning.
Absolutely.
All right, so let's go out there and let's rock midlife.
Fiercely.
Fiercely, fiercely. All right, how do we end this show? What do we say? Cheers.
Cheers, beauties.
I've trained you well. Cheers, beauties. Stay fierce.